These are some of the colours that I've collected on my Pinterest board and yarns that I could purchase for projects that involve some of my crochet, my knitting, all the things I really enjoy. But this next Pinterest board shows some of the activities that I'm already doing. I've always loved granny squares and colours and combining colours, and these little projects, these little clothes have just inspired me. So let's get back to my sofa and then I can show you what I've been doing in the last few days with my crochet hook. Hello there, I'm back on my sofa and I hope you've got your sunglasses on today because it's full of colour love. Things are a little brighter, the sun's come out. Next week, apparently, end of February, is the last day of winter officially. Well, we'll wait and see, won't we? It was a frosty night last night, so we've still got the frosts. But yeah, following on from last week, I talked about knitting from my Pinterest board, and you will have seen some of my collages in the introduction, and some of the things that I like to save onto my Pinterest boards. I always look if I've got a colour palette that I'm interested in researching, I create the colour palette on colourlovers.com. I also have some patterns on colourlovers.com that I've actually designed myself. And these have become the basis of some of my fabric designs. One of the palettes that you saw, or collages that you saw, sorry, was of some ties that I had made from Alki out of some of my fabric designs, and I had them printed and made up. Some of my ties have actually been seen on the catwalk in Manchester at a fashion show in Manchester. One of my followers on Instagram contacted me and said, oh, could you designed some for the show. Can you come and show them? Unfortunately, the time, and it is very difficult to get. It's too costly to be able to do that, to be able to be there personally. And at the time, I had a lot of family issues to be dealing with, and you know, I'm up here in Orkney, and that's difficult sometimes. So, but they got, they were modelled on the Manchester fashion show. I still have some pictures somewhere. I'll put them up if I can find them. And so that came from my colour loving, and I just coloured my designs with a palette of varying tones that I'd researched from what was already going on in the fashion scene at the time. If you go on my Pinterest board, I have a few boards where I follow the trends, the fashion colour trends for a particular year. At the moment, I'm following the spring 2025 trends. The reason I do that is I find out what is being forecast as the knitting patterns, the Pantone colours. There are varying different companies now that are starting colour trends, so I follow some of those. And then I translate them into fabric designs and also into colours for knitting. Now this jumper that I'm wearing today, you've already seen in one of my episodes, where I picked up the yarn last summer from Nen, and I bought the Colour Lab by West Yorkshire Spinners and paired it with some toning mohair, silk mohair from Drops. And I used the pattern by Petite Knit for the slip over, but instead of doing a ribbed collar, I did a rollover collar and I added some sleeves. And this is the first time I've had it on today. And it's very light. I knit it on 5mm needles, and it's very light. And as it's still not warm enough yet, it's still quite cozy. Last Saturday was it? Ooh, can't remember which day my yarn arrived. I got about 20 balls, 15 of them different colours and 5 of them one colour, to start on my little baby clothes in crochet. My granny baby clothes. Well, I'm old enough to be a granny. So I can call them granny baby clothes, but you know what I mean. Granny square baby clothes. And I've done an awful lot already. I'm just working on this hexagonal, well, it's not exactly a square, hexagonal shape at the moment to make a cardigan. I'm actually on the last row. Just going around the last row. So I've done 2 colours of each. 2 colours mint, 2 colours two rose mint, 2 rose orange, 2 rows of a sort of a camel colour, 2 rows of a sunshiny yellow colour, and 2 rows of denim blue. So I've already done one side and I've sewn up the sleeve. So there you go, that's the first side, and I'm finishing the second side so that I can make it into a little cardigan. I'm going to have to put a little panel at the back. I'm not sure how I'm going to, what I'm going to do to do that. But would you like to see some of the things I've already had a go at? Oh yes, I've been busy. I have these little gauze lilac bags that I bought to put in spare yarns. That's an idea in my head at the moment. I'll put that ready because that's going to be ready soon. So what was the first thing I made? The first thing I made was inspired by one of the little outfits on the Pinterest board. So it's already in its little bag, keeping clean and dust free. So I'll undo that. And inside is a pair of wee trousers. Aren't they cute? With a ribbed top and a little bow. And on each side there is a different coloured square. See? Joined together. Now these are sort of size-wise, I would say 0 to 3 months. It could be even up to 6 months, dependent on the size of your baby. So that's that one. Isn't that cute? So that goes back in its little bag. There you go. So the next one I made was the cardigan, I think. I did a little cardigan to go with it. Or similar, well, because they're all similar colours anyway. I used some of them to make a little cardigan. So this is the little V-neck cardigan. There you go, with a colourful edge. It's what I would call college kid type thing, and with a square on the back. So that's cute. These all need buttons yet. That'll need buttons. It's got buttonholes. And it's there you go. Then the next, I decided I'd had enough of those colours for a bit, so I decided to do something different. So I started on a more pretty set. And this is a little top. There you go. A little top. Dressy top, perhaps. It's long enough, isn't it? Dressy top. There you go. With some little frilly edges. That, I love the colours of that. That's cute. In that sort of cute colour range, I did a couple of other things, some later than others. I made a little onesie. Now, this is not, these items that I am crocheting are inspired by what I see on my Pinterest board. I don't have any patterns for these, but I did have a pattern from this one, and I've actually found her on YouTube, and she's called Maisie and Ruth, and she has a Scottish accent. Oh, it's lovely. And so I started, I found her on Pinterest, and she had a pattern for a little onesie. So that's your little onesie. My way, of course. I've adapted it slightly. So it needs sewing in the ends here. So it's got the back end there. Back end with the opening at the back, because we don't pull things over heads, do we? And I just trimmed it with a little bit of lilac on the legs and on the sleeves and on the neck. And what you do is you put your buttons along there and fold that up, and then just use the trebles that you've been crocheting with to make buttonholes. But that is so cute, isn't it? I want to make a few of those in different colours. I might do a lilac one with lemon edges, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, so that's the only one I've done via a pattern. I think I needed that just to be able to work out lengths and things like that. There are places on Pinterest where you can find out what the lengths are for leggings. Leggings are a good one to work with. When you do them in crochet, they're a lot quicker as well. I also did another little cardigan. With no, well, actually it's a little jumper with buttoned up button jumper for the front with no sleeves, a sleeveless one. More like a t-shirt, you know what I mean? Just a cropped t-shirt type thing. Whee! And it's a raglan style. Oh yes, I'll just show you that. That's a raglan style. The onesie was more of a circular yoke style. So if one of the ladies commented on one of my videos some time ago, said I'd like to be able to do a circular yoke for a baby. Yeah, but we don't like to pull jumpers over heads, so you're better doing a little opening at the back and doing a circular yoke that away. But with crochet, it's dead simple. So go and find the Maisie and Ruth Maisie and Ruth YouTube channel, and she's got a lot of patterns. I've only watched that particular one because it was of interest to me at the time on the onesie. I watched a little bit of it, but I mainly followed the pattern through the Pinterest board, my Pinterest board. Another pretty version, again, this was a picture I saw. I didn't look at any patterns, I just worked out how to do the shape. And you see, the thing is with crochet is you can start from any sort of shape. You can start from a square, an oblong, a hexagon, I'm trying to think what a 5 point is. Is it a pentagon? Pentagon? No. Probably. And also, but the hexagon is quite useful for a lot of different projects. Now this one will go with my little dress, and it's a pair of shorts. I didn't put any opening on the shorts for this because it's easy enough just to pull down. See, because it's got a stretch. So I think that's a little big for a baby, a newborn, or a 0 to 3. This might be more of a bigger size, but it's a start. It was a trial, to be fair. I didn't do it on a piece of scrap yarn. I could just pull it back slightly for a couple of rows, and that would be small enough. But yeah, you get the idea, don't you? So there's the little leggies. That's the gusset. It's just sewn together, and the other leg. And that's the elasticated waist. I have got it so that there are some holes in there so that you can put in a drawstring, you know. And then finally, yeah, I'm almost at the end. I worked away. Again, this is a bit of a trial, but I've got something left to do on it, but I just wanted to show it you first anyway. And that is a cocoon. See? Cocoon. There you go. So it's like a bag. Lots of different colours. And then I shaped it at the top. And there's buttonholes up here so I can button it. And then what I want to do is I've created a couple of little raised edges so I can follow them to make a couple of straps to go over. A bit like a dungaree cocoon. But that's what I'm working on at the moment. Well, working through the idea at the moment. I like that. It'll be cozy in a pram. I recently saw a post, I think it was on the King Cole website, which mentioned that I think the UK government is concerned about babies being too warm when they sleep. So from what I gather, it was saying that if you, they were taking patterns off for hooded sleeping bags because they were concerned about babies getting too hot. So that's maybe something to consider when you're making things. But yeah, I like that. And I like the colours, of course. So how many things have I made? Well, that's 1, 2, 3. Let's put the little bow back on it. 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm actually on number 8. I decided to change my colours for that. These are based on one set of colours. and the one I'm starting on is in a different range of colours. So as time goes on, I have got so much wool left. It's not taking up an awful lot of wool. You know what I mean? Because I'm just using single colours for single rows. You know what I mean? So yeah, it keeps falling out. It's not a good bag, this. The main colour I've been using for the whole set of little clothes is, I'll just put that to one side, this colour, which is called Cerise. Now, any of you who want to switch off now, you can switch off now. I do natural yarns next week, perhaps. But these are King Cole Prize. I've been seeing a lot of this across Facebook. People are selling them on their yarn pages. And I thought, well, I've not really used King Cole Prize before. It's not one I know about. I have always stuck to my Stylecraft Special DK, which has generally a cottony feel to it, I feel. But this is more of a woolly feel. And if you look at if I come up close, you can see it's got that kind of woolly look. I was looking at how yarns are created, and this King Cole Prize double knit is made of 100% premium polyester. Now, polyester is non-biodegradable, but what polyester is, and it's now being used a lot in recycled yarn because it recycles. So you can, this is King Cole, is a mill in the UK. It's in Skipton in the UK, Yorkshire. But the actual yarn is made in Turkey under license for King Cole, much like Stylecraft is made in Turkey. Turkey, as we know, has had a very bad time due to the earthquakes. So yarn is coming through from there, it seems, because I was able to get plenty of this, and I got this from the Wool Factory. It's washable at 30 degrees. I often wash acrylic or anything like that on my 30-degree cycle for 15 minutes, and it's enough. This colour shade is Cerise. And I just love this colour as a contrast to all the other colours. They all seem to work together. So I have lots of different colours to work with. I've got my nice sunny bright colours in here. And this one I love as well. This is a sunshine yellow. Now this is very much the colour, one of the colours for 2025. This and the minty colour. That's another good colour that's coming through in 2025. So two colours there that I like. A lot of the time I do the colour trends, but I also add my own colours that I think might go well with them, if you know what I mean. I'll show you a couple of the palettes that I'm using that I feel will go well in 2025. So I add my own sometimes. On my Pinterest boards, you'll find that I do a lot of interiors. So my colours I put together go into my modern interior palettes. So I've got things like modern Mexican casa, or I've got a Moroccan townhouse, or I've got a Greek taverna, or, you know, that sort of thing. So I like to play around with my colours in interiors as well. A lot of my designs I upload to Spoonflower, and Spoonflower provide many platforms on which to show your design, i.e. wallpaper, fabrics, cushions, bedding. And I know that one of my designs was sold in the wallpaper. I sold about 5 rolls of it. That did gain me quite a good bit of commission, and I was quite sort of happy with that. That was quite a surprise. That was a few years ago. I haven't had many sales of my items as yet, but I don't really market it, which I should really, I suppose. So on that note, I'll put a link in the description if you want to go and have a look at my fabrics. They quite often have sales, so you can have a little look and see if there's anything you quite like. I've designed a little fabric for these colour combinations as well, so that's not up on my Pinterest board as my Spoonflower shop as yet. What inspired some of the colours was a leopard print from the 2025 I'm not sure if it was the spring palette or one of the others, and I'd already created this leopard print in a colourway that was similar to the one that was on the trend board. Oh, how long have I got to go? I've just got another side to do. So yeah, that's a bit about how my design process. I look at what's trending, what I like that I think might go with it, and then that formulates either my design, fabric design, or the colours of yarn I use for my projects. Now, I've come to the end of that. Wee! Oh, I keep that on because what I want to do now is make the... Because it's 6-sided, I've done a 6-sided shape. That's a hexagon shape. Now all I do is fold it up, just like that, in half, and you get the other side. Isn't that so simple? So simple, I could not believe it, how simple it was. So that's the other side. And so what I do now is using my hook and the yarn I've already got on the needle, I just pick up one stitch from one edge and double and slip stitch it. So I'm going to slip stitch this whole edge as the shoulder seam. That is so crazily simple. I've given you away my tip now, haven't I? But I'm sure there are, I can't make as many as I would love to make. It would take me forever on my own. So at least if I show you what you can do that yourself, can't you? And if you don't crochet and you'd like to wait for me, I will be putting some of these little items up on my shop in due course. I hope it won't be too long, probably about March time. End of March, something like that, once I've got all... End of March is probably about right. I think I've still got quite a lot to do. And when my shop's ready, I'll let you know here on YouTube and give you the link to it. It's quite exciting, isn't it? And scary. It's scary for me because it's over the years I have done things for people. You know, I've knitted dolls for people and little items for new babies, but I've never actually gone and tried to sell my little items, particularly online. It always, I find it quite scary because, and I don't know why, because I think it's a lack of confidence in my own ability, whereas other people love what I do. So I'm just going to have to step over that feeling, those feelings, you know what I mean? Feel the fear and do it anyway. I have to remind myself of that sometimes. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I'm thinking that I might use yellow to be the contrast colour, because I think that and the mint's going to look good. Lilac is another good one that would go well with mint, so I might do that. I've got plenty of lilac. Well, you'll soon find out, won't you? There you go. Just picking up one edge and the other edge, just on the top. See, nothing particularly, not through the whole thing, just the one loop. And then slipping the stitch. Whoops, I've just lost that one. That was clever, wasn't it? Let's do it again. So I've got one, hang on, there. I've picked up that back loop there and the back loop of the other side there. Pull it through, and that's a slip stitch. So that's basically my tip for not having to sew. I can sew, and I have done a bit of sewing, but I don't unless that's the simplest way of doing it. I've also created a knitting pattern. Well, I've taken notes for a knitting pattern, and as I said last week, I'm going to have to type it up. Again, this is a scary point for me. I can knit till the cows come home, but to write a pattern for somebody else to follow is another thing. Then I've gone through the different worries about sizing. I want to size for larger people. So I thought, well, I would like to do large, extra large, and extra, extra large. maybe 3 times extra large. I don't know. That's what I want to do. That's in my head to do. As opposed to the smaller sizes, which are very well catered for. Top wise, I start from a size 14. So I go up from size 14. I can, depending on the size of and shape of a top, I can actually fit into a 12 sometimes. When I knit some of these oversized jumpers, when I knit them, I start from the small size. Because if you look at the actual bust measurement, it is enormous in comparison to the size of the actual bust measurement is enormous in as opposed to the actual measurement given for a small. So like it's a 32 to 34 inch and it's like 38 to 40. Well, that's great for me because it fits me perfectly, which I like. I don't want to be big and out here because it just makes me look bigger than I already am. I want to have a more fitted version. So that's how I see it. I just find that some of these patterns are just too oversized and too silly for me, personally. If you want a nice big size, good. If you're small and slender, that's quite good because it gives you a bit more weight. But if you have weight on, you don't want to look weightier. So a more fitted version is better for a bigger person, believe it or not. Quite often people think you need to wear baggy stuff to cover the fact that you've put on weight. No, it makes you look even worse. Don't do it. Fit something to your shape. You will have a waist somewhere. I've got a waist somewhere here. I do have a waist. I just have a lot of more apple shapes around my stomach and hips. So the way to get around that is be fitted and then maybe have more of a gather underneath the bust. An empire, is it an empire? Not an empire line, but you know the type of dresses that Jane Austen would have worn. That sort of thing. A nice long maxi dress or a midi dress with gathers underneath the bust. Emphasize the top part of your body because that is usually more slender. And then you just follow that down with the gathers from under the bust. And that seems to have a better look for somebody with an apple shape. That's what I've learned over the years from doing. As one time I used to do colour analysis, and therefore we would just do the colours, what would suit them. But also I would often sort of talk about what to wear if you've got a certain shape. That meant more research for me, but that was good. I didn't mind that. So now I've got my little 2 pieces of my cardigan and I'm going to join them together. And like I said, I think I might use... Oh, where's it gone? It's completely different colour, but I've got a little of it left. So I might just do the cardigan edges in that and make a panel for down the back. So that's my next little job. And And so that it all fits in, I can put a little row of crochet along the edge of the arms and along the bottom. I've realised as well today that a lot of my edges are quite tight, and it's because I'm not doing the elasticated edgings, and this one is the same, bit tight. So my tip to anybody who's doing a top-down jumper is finish off with an elasticated edging. Don't just cast off normally, which I tend to do. Sheer laziness, really. I could do an elasticated one. This one's a lot better. I think this may be the elasticated one. It seems to be a lot better. Anyway, oh, and lastly, I hope it's lastly. Yes, I think so. I was having a sort out of my office recently, and I came across a lot of things that I'd forgotten I'd got. In fact, there's a couple of things I'd forgotten I'd got. Where have I put that now? Oh, goodness knows where I've put it now. Typical, isn't it? I'll have put it somewhere. But this one, I found this one. And this one is a very old pattern. I'll just see if there's a date of publishing on it. No, unfortunately, but it kind of represents some of my crocheted items I've got in my wardrobe. It's not one I've pinched off there, but I love it. It's going to go, it's got to be done. It has got to be done. A trouser suit in my own fashion, and of course that's just in plain cream, and Claire doesn't do plain cream, so I will definitely look into matching it up with a lot of my dresses in the wardrobe, and do that same sort of pattern, but I'll add an extra row of trebles, and then put a double knit in a different colour row between each section. Now, the thing with trousers, obviously, is you don't want to be showing your knickers, so I'll have to find a way around that. I might do it so that it has plain trebles along there from a cycle short length upwards. That might be interesting. But I do like the waistcoat. The waistcoat has got to be done, if nothing else. But I do love the idea of the trousers. Yeah, no, that's definitely good. That is definitely fun, isn't it? But I found an old Vogue magazine with some beautiful shaping in knitting using a rib. And I have knitted this before, and it was a top before, and it was a beautiful, beautiful version. I did it in pink. But it was actually knitted, I think it was pink wool I used, but it was actually knitted up in a rayon, which you can't get now. So it would be wonderful as a linen cotton merino type top. And it was definitely for the summer, and there was some beautiful other patterns in that magazine. So if I can find it, I will give you a little collage at the end with some pretty music, like I do. So I hope you've enjoyed that little tour around my Pinterest boards and what I'm crocheting at the moment, and my crochet art. That's what I call it, crochet art, because that's all it is. It's made up of shapes and colours, and my love of colour in both crochet and knitting. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that today, and I will see you again shortly with another episode. There's a lot of things in my mind going on, as you know, we're bubbling around there. I'm not sure what you're going to get next, but I think it'll probably be a February recap of what I've actually made this month. So you'll probably see some of the end results of my crochet, what I've been knitting, what I've finished, and maybe a little peek into, a sneak peek into my secret project. Okay, so what do I say? Keep knitting or crocheting if that's what you want to do. See you soon. Bye now.